Wonderful. Thank you, everybody. So welcome to your Desired Success Foundation Mastermind, about paying it forward with the golden rule, which is do unto others as you would have done to you. What we're focused on here is coming together, sharing our knowledge and experience, especially as we're working through world famous book of success, Think and Grow Rich, and masterminding together around a topic. So Napoleon Hill here, the author of Think and Grow Rich, said around the power of the mastermind that it is the principle through which you may borrow and use the education, the experience, the influence, and perhaps even the capital of other people in carrying out your own plans in life. It is the principle through which you can accomplish in 1 year more than you could accomplish without it in a lifetime if you depended entirely on your own efforts for success. This is the power of the mastermind and coming together with like-minded people to work on a topic in particular. Now, what we're going to do is set the foundation of the call, going through the mastermind principles. So if you'd like to start us off, Kate. Just make sure everyone's unmuted.
Okay. The purpose of the mastermind is to share our value and connect with like-minded people in order to create wealth in all areas of our lives.
We are here to inspire and challenge each other to reach and exceed goals.
Each member is committed to their own success as well as the success of every member of the group.
We are committed to meeting in person or virtually for 1 hour every week.
We are present. There is no multitasking or distractions during meetings.
We are collaborative. We listen without interrupting, lecturing, or judging.
We celebrate each other's success without jealousy.
We are honest and participate by giving thoughtful feedback.
Kate, Federica, if you're available, you can read number 9.
Okay. We are open and listen to different perspectives without being defensive or offering excuses.
Beautiful. Kate?
We trust fellow members enough to share fully.
We are focused, but we also think it is important to have fun during meetings.
We are real and authentic. This is a no BS zone.
Oh, yes. We allow ourselves to become completely aligned with each other and the high forces. One mind, one soul, and one love. Woohoo! I got it again. I promise. I did not plan that. I promise. So that's always a good one to read, Federica, as this is the first time you're joining us. I thoroughly enjoy that one. So the topic today is imagination from Think and Grow Rich, and it doesn't matter whether you have the book or you have or haven't read it. This is about embracing what we're discussing right here and now. However, what I'm going to start with is, who here read the chapter from Napoleon and the chapter from Sharon Lecter in Think and Grow Rich for Women? So Mum did. Okay, Mum. So we're all in a complete suspense right now as to what you experienced between reading Napoleon's version and Sharon Lecter's. Did you notice a difference?
Yes, I did. A massive difference, to be honest. And as soon as I put my hand up, I thought, that's because I told him I'd read both chapters from both books. I'll keep my mouth shut next time. Yeah, I did. I thought Napoleon Hill's version, after reading it, I think this is the 3rd time I'm going through this book. I thought I understood it a lot more. And I just find Napoleon Hill's version, no criticism to men, but I just find it very harsh and to the point, where Think and Grow Rich for Women, Sharon Lecter, it was a lot more gentle, and it explains, which I didn't know, about how many women in the past have been the inventors of things, and they weren't allowed to put their names to them, because in that day and age, it was only men that were allowed to do it. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed reading both chapters from both books. Yeah, and I still definitely recommend Think and Grow Rich for Women.
Beautiful. Great share. So who here is interested then in getting the Think and Grow Rich for Women? No, I know that I've got the version here, and I'm yet to read it, and I'd love to read it, because I know Sharon Lecter's focus was to actually bring it more into modern day. Which, do you feel that that's a true representation, Mum, of it?
Yeah, definitely. You can relate to so much of what she's talking about. And obviously she talks about people who we know, albeit all women, but all successful women, like, Princess Diana, Maggie Thatcher, people that we all know, and whether we like them or not, but people that we all know and can relate to, I feel.
Yeah, great share. Thank you. Does anybody have anything to touch on that, or is everybody happy to move forward? I've seen a few comments saying, I'm going to get the book. I'm ordering it. That's all good. Okay. So as we dive in, there's going to be a few things, as you can see, I love to highlight. So this is a book of growth, so don't be afraid to highlight things and make a mess. So in the beginning here of the chapter, Napoleon says, the impulse, the desire, is given shape, form, and action through the aid of the imagination faculty of the mind. I've asked this before. When we think of human beings, what age group or what stage of life would you say are the best at accessing their imagination?
Kids, 100%.
Beautiful, Ryan. Yep. So can anybody give me an example of that, of what they've noticed with children?
Children don't sort of cannot distinguish what's real and what's not real just yet. Whatever they imagine, they just think it's just there. It exists. If they can create it in their mind, it means that somehow it's also part of their reality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, beautiful. And there's I was actually at a self-mastery event, and the facilitator shared a story of his stepbrother saying, oh, John Cena's just been killed by The Rock. And he's like, what? He said, yeah, John Cena's just been killed by The Rock. And how? He said, oh, he drowned him. And he's like, when? He said, just before. And he says the thing was, we were out by the river in Perth, and I couldn't figure out how we knew this. So he said, how have you found that? And he said, it just happened. And what it was this kid was playing with a John Cena doll and a Rock doll and fighting, and the Rock threw John Cena into the river. And that's what his imagination was, but it was real in his world. And that was what was so, like, even though we don't want to think like that, and that's not what we want to manifest and create, but it just goes to show the power of the imagination. And really, Sasha, you manifested something recently big, didn't you, into your life through you created it in your imagination. Isn't that right?
Yes. Yeah. It's almost a year now, but or at least 10 months. But yes, but I really focused on that. It was like a 40-hour work week. I just focused on it, made pictures, movies, affirmations and meditations, only focused on what I wanted. And that worked perfectly. So, yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. So it goes back to what it says here, the impulse. Remember the flow as well. And if you're not familiar with it, the flow of what Napoleon talks about is faith, desire. And he's going through all these. So everything, as you get further through the chapters, he's constantly referring to what he's already spoken about to really take us back and get clear on the level of desire and the faith aspect. So as I just read there, the impulse, the desire is given shape, form, and action through the aid of the imaginative faculty of the mind. He goes on to say there's two forms of imagination. The imaginative faculty functions in two forms. One is known as synthetic and one is known as creative. Synthetic imagination, through this faculty, one may arrange old concepts, ideas, or plans into new combinations. This faculty creates nothing. It merely works with the material of experience, education, and observation with which it is fed. It is the faculty used most by the inventor with the exception of the genius who draws upon the creative imagination. When he cannot, and remember this is he, I'm going to change it now. When they cannot solve this problem through synthetic imagination. Creative imagination, on the other hand, through the faculty of creative imagination, the finite mind. Does everybody understand what finite means? Anybody know? Finite has no end. Okay, infinite. The infinite is going. Sorry, finite has an end. Infinite continues. So through the faculty of creative imagination, the finite mind of man has direct communication with infinite intelligence. It is the faculty through which hunches and inspirations are received. It is by this faculty all basic or new ideas are handed over to the person. It is through this faculty that thought vibrations from the minds of others are received. It is through this faculty that one individual may tune in or communicate with the subconscious minds of other people. Now, for those of us who have read this book, can anybody name one person that's mentioned in this book who you can relate to with what I just said then around creative imagination?
Albert Einstein.
Albert Einstein. Do you want to give a bit more of an explanation there, Ryan?
Well, he had to continue to use his imagination. I mean, it says in the book that he tried 10,000 times to try and create the light bulb, and on the 10,001 time he was successful. That required him to continue to use his creative imagination to come up with ways to invent what we all use today, which is the light bulb.
Yeah, that wasn't Albert Einstein, that was Thomas Edison, but almost. Not a problem, mate. I know what you were doing there, Ryan, was just seeing if we were all on our toes. I know what you were doing there, bro. I totally got it. So
got the
that
names
was making
confused.
sure
You knew exactly what I was talking about.
I knew exactly who you're talking about, mate. Yeah. So, and that's it. The leveraging off the minds of others. I tell you, somebody else, and we spoke about this last week, was Andrew Carnegie. He got around people and he leveraged off the mind of them. Now, every single one of us is on this call and we are having some level of thought right now. And as human beings, we are transmitters and receivers. Now, some of us might be having something that maybe is a disempowering thought. Some of us are maybe like, oh, is this where I really want to be? Is this topic making sense? Some of us might be like, hey, I'm really ready to dive deeper into this topic. I want to contribute. Some people are going to be wanting to listen to empower. There's a lot of thoughts going on. Remember, there's approximately 80,000 thoughts each day that are taking place in our mind. So there's a lot that's processing right now. So when we listen to that creative imagination, the key aspect of it is to be open to receiving that information from different people. Carly, and just to let you all know, everyone's completely still on my screen, so I can't see if you're putting your hand up. You'll need to raise your hand on the screen. So Carly, thank you.
I was just going to say, like you're saying, we are constantly blobbing into each other's vibrational thoughts, like whether we're awake or not. And so I know for me, when I get an intuition about doing something, and if I don't take action, within a couple of days, people that I know, when I hang out with them, suddenly come up with the same ideas and start taking action. And then I go, holy moly, I downloaded that like 3 days ago. And if I had taken action, I would have actually been the leader of that, not the follower. So
I'm curious to just dive in and check in a bit on that, Carly, if I may. With what you're receiving there, or you're creating and you're putting out there in your imagination, so you're activating that faculty, do you feel that in that process you're actually aligned with a desire?
All I know is I'm a clear channel, and I can't really say it was a full desire, but I know I intuitively knew that that's what I should be doing. Like I got guided,
Yeah.
you need to take this step. And if I don't action it in some form and I put it to the side, not long after, a few days, even a week later, as soon as I'm around someone and we've merged energy and I'm doing even a healing, I've done healings on people and they've I've got this fantastic idea and I'm like, okay, that was my idea from last week. And then they'll go to implement it and it doesn't work for them because it wasn't for them.
So, and I'm glad you actually, you nailed really how I could have worded my question better, because when I knew that I wanted to create a mastermind, and the whole intention was to bring like-minded people together to discuss topics to help us evolve and share our experience, and really we learn and we grow from the knowledge of others, and if we can leverage that and action that, we can move forward. So the step, if you will, was to, hey, if I don't actually create a Zoom link to this call, people can't access it. Like it wasn't the desire. The desire was to connect with people, but I needed to do part of the steps to do that. So with what you've said there, do you feel then that I'm saying this from a place of total respect and love towards you.
I can give
Do
you my
feel
answer.
that you're not where you want to be because of a lack of action?
No, I'm not. No, because sometimes we get an intuition to tell us to do something. And when we action it, it doesn't work, but for someone else it does. So it really, yes, I may have had an intention originally, month before, a week before, I want to do something more. What do you want? Like I'm talking to my soul, not just random. And then I'll get an intuitive hit a week later of something I can action, but I choose not to action it. You could say I was meant to do it or I was not meant to do it, but the ones that I'm meant to do, a lot of those, someone else around me gets wind of and starts actioning it and it doesn't work for them. They're the ones I'm meant to have done. The ones that I could have done, that 20 people around me get the same understanding, someone in that 20 actions it and it'll work. So because the universe sends us stuff, and if we don't act on it, the universe gives it to the next person because it needs to be put on the earth and used for humanity's evolution. So yes, you could say I didn't action it and I should have, but at the same time, someone else is going to action it anyway because it didn't get downloaded through me for no reason. Yes, I could action it, but I could action 50,000 things.
Yeah.
And I don't have time for them all. So someone else will get it.
And there's that thing of, there's no should, as you know. It's really about stepping into that and going, is this what feels right for me right now in this moment? But at the same time, appreciating that we also need to get uncomfortable to grow. Yeah. But it needs to be uncomfortable alignment. It can't be something that naturally is totally against what we're about and our values.
Yeah.
So
a lot of it's just a mirror of where I am in my comfort zone or not. Like if I want to own parts of myself and get out of my comfort zone, sure. But other parts of me don't want to get out of my comfort zone. So it depends where I am, where I'm feeling comfortable, and the kind of support around me. Like with Noble Goldman, we've got a lot of support. So we could action things and call on the support of someone else that has a bit of wisdom in that area, and we could still action it, and that extra little piece of support supports you to keep moving and momentum. Or we could just take the initiative and action it, and the right people come into the vibration you're now lifting up to. So either way works, and that's the beauty of Noble Goldman, because either way we bring the person in, whether we ask for support or whether we action it fully and the support comes.
Yeah, beautiful, powerful share. I mean, if that's not triggering some level of imagination for all of us right now, I don't know what is. So that was awesome. Thank you, Carly. I saw Kate, you had your hand up. I don't know if Kate's still with us.
Sorry, I'm on mute because I've got the kids.
Okay.
What I wanted to share was my experiences with that happening when the universe sends me a message and I don't action it. I take it as I need to rest. I'm in a state of spiritual or body progress or growth where I need to rest myself and my body and focus on me and taking care of me, and allow others to send the message, to action the message, to pass it on through me. And they'll feel that energy and they will use their energy to send the message instead of me, where I need to rest my energy. That's how I sense that when I get those sort of things happening. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful share there, Kate. There's you made me actually think around and also with what Carly had shared there. When we go through the actual mission statement in NG, the mission statement speaks about shifting from this the self-transcendent shift from the me to the we to the us. Most people are constantly looking like, you know, this call right now would actually be coming from an angle of, hey, why should I come on this call? What's in it for me? What's the value? So that's the way that most people, if not all of us, think. We're all constantly looking as what's the value for me. Then the power is that we come together. So remember, we're shifting from the transcendent shift from the me to the we. So we come together with a common goal of personal growth, to contribute, to learn, to activate our imagination faculty. And from there, we can create a shift that takes place for us as in the world. So one of the beautiful things, and this is where I invite you to, for some of you, this might be something you're already doing, but it was something that really, really made an impact on my life. I'd invite you to look at the power of collaboration over competition. Now, I've heard people say this and they do not act in any way, shape, or form in this area. Okay, they say it and they're very good at it. It's like they can spell the word integrity, but there's no way they're acting from a place of integrity. So the point here is that we look, and you may say, hey, hang on a minute, that's judgment. But hey, I'm making a point here. The angle of this is that when we have a level of imagination, when we have a burning desire, we have this imagination to go, I can go here and I can create this. The next part is to step back and go, what am I going to need in order to achieve this? And I guarantee what you're going to need is people. You're going to need the skills, the attitude, the imagination of other people in helping you carrying out your own plans in life. That's going to be a total truth. So with Mark Santos, the founder of NG, he had a vision to create a platform where people can come together to contribute their value and support each other to achieve our desired success, but also to receive from other people. So not only to give, to receive from other people. And in doing so, continue to personally grow. And when we're giving, we're growing. When we're receiving, we're growing. So he had this vision, this imagination. But what he understood was, for that to become a reality, he needed the power of people. He needed the power of certain members in the community who have stepped forward and said, let me offer my value to help this become a reality. And through the power of collaboration, so once again, shifting into the we, and people aligning with that vision, aligning with that level of imagination, we've allowed it to expand. And what happens when you throw a stone in the lake? It's the ripple. It's not the drop of the stone, it's the ripple effect. And it's that constant growth that's taking place that makes a huger impact. So the imagination of what we create from the beginning, and we're going, hey, this is my imagination. And I believe everybody on this call right now has an imagination to grow, has an imagination to contribute, wants to see other people succeed in their life. Some of us might not know how to do it. I had a great chat with Kate recently. And I said to Kate, what if we created this space for you to come and achieve that desire that you have to make an impact in people's lives? What if we collaborated and worked together to create that? And Kate lit up, and I got goosebumps because I could feel Kate's energy. She told me what she wanted to achieve, and she now understands the power of, she doesn't need to do it on its own. Collaborative, we can create that space. And the beautiful thing about that is Kate's imagination of what she wanted to create there has now gathered incredible momentum. And she now can see where she needs to just focus and leverage, or the other word for it is leverage, if we just manipulate the word a little bit, leverage what we're able to bring to the table. But the point at the beginning is the imagination has to be clear, and the heart and mind have to be open to collaborate. Does anybody want to touch on this?
I was just thinking we just collaborated, me and Kate, our hearts went up at the exact time. And that was incredible. And also your mum, I love how she's got this imagination of 682-3 with her name, because I only just saw that in the names of the participants. But I thought that's fantastic. I'm not saying she's not there already, but I just love how she's already put that into action by writing it for her next step of evolution, creating for when she is 682-3.
Yeah, beautiful awareness there. Anybody else wants to touch on that? What was shared by Carly or myself or anybody else? Because remember, this is our call, not my call.
Can I touch on it?
Yeah, okay, go for it.
I'm getting butterflies and tingles from the excitement and the energy that's come out. And then with Carly, with both of the love hearts, it was just like an explosion of energy, and I could feel it shooting. And it's just, when you started mentioning it, it made me light up. So maybe that's what I should have answered today with your question of what makes you light up. Yeah, there's so many things that make me light up, and it's easy to forget. It's very easy to forget, but it's also just as easy to collaborate and help others help you remember. Yeah.
Beautiful share, Kate. There was something that was said to me recently, and I had to take a step back, and it reminded me of where I used to be. And one of the things, if you've gone and done dive deeper into the universal laws, you'll understand, especially around the law of attraction, for you to attract what you want, you have to vibrationally match it. Okay, so this is, and whilst we're here, I'll just touch on that. For those of you who are buying Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, once again, and I share this regularly, make sure you get the unedited version. If you're getting Sharon Lecter's, which is for women, that's obviously edited, but it's approved by the Napoleon Hill Foundation. But Napoleon's actual book that's unedited has the talk of the vibration, because the edited version, they removed everything around vibration. So when you look at the universal laws, and we actually masterminded this in the paid community group, and we dived really deep, but you've got to match that vibration. Now, somebody said to me, hey, Martin, the problem, you can't just go and talk about a topic that you're happy about, because it's not going to earn you any money. You've got to focus on what you need to be doing. You need to be busy in what's going to earn you money. And I remember thinking that way. And I said, well, that's an interesting way to think. But what about if you are living in accordance with your values? Therefore, your cup is being filled every day. Your energy is high, your vibration is high. And what you want to attract in your life, you are already then matching it at that vibration. And if you are matching it at that vibration, you can attract it. Because if for instance, if you're working a job that you're not happy with, and over 80% of people are working a job they're not happy with. I was on a call with a guy who's a leadership coach who works with some big companies, and he was going through working and saying, Martin, do you realize that there's over 80% of people in work and in employment that aren't happy with the job? And if their boss offered them more money, they take it. But you know what? That still wouldn't change the fact that they're not happy. They still wouldn't be happy, and therefore they're willing to leave. They're ready to leave. So the focus here is, and Bob Proctor says, you don't work a job just for the sake of working it. You should really be looking at working a job for satisfaction. You should want to go because it satisfies you. So therefore, when you look at doing something that satisfies you, your vibration is high. Whereas if you're working, and I'm just using the job as an example, if you're working a job that isn't serving you, your vibration is low. You don't want to be there. It's not adding any value to your life. So how can you attract something of a higher vibration? That's why a lot of people get what they call side hustles and side businesses, and they step into that and their vibration rises, and that's where they start to see results. And it's because they've decided to make a decision to get out of the energy that they were in. But the problem is, for many of them, they step back into that and they don't understand the power of gratitude. And one of my friends recently said to me, I'm not happy because I've got to go back and get a job. My husband's had to stop working because of the mental health stuff, and I've had to go and get a job. And I said to her, the best thing you can do, and I understand where you're at, but the best thing you can do is be grateful that you've been given, the universe has given you this job. She says, the job's easy. I don't have to work hard at all. I earn pretty good money. And I'm like, if you choose to show gratitude for that, you will see the blessing in it and understand that right now at this moment in time, this is to carry you through this shifting that's taking place, and allow your husband to do and nurture himself as he needs. Because if you didn't have that job, you would really be stressed. And just me sharing that, and it's not that I'm right or wrong, but just me sharing that, her energy completely shifted and she was able to see that, which now has made a huge different vibrational shift in when she's there and when she's at home and when she goes to it. Instead of I don't want to go to it, she's now able to see the blessing in it and what she can create. But her imagination created that. Her focus of I want a better life. She always said, it's about my husband. I want my husband to retire. I want him to be able to do the things he wants to do. It's not the way she intended, but she created that opportunity. And she's now stepped into that. Is this making sense, or is this like totally off the chart for some people? Anybody?
Can I share a story?
Corey, go for it, mate. Yeah.
So I only do things that I love in my life. So I'm a personal trainer. I do rite the passage with kids, which that really lights up my life. But I just recently had an incident with one of the employees at work where he wanted to fight me, and it really triggered me, and I felt unsafe in the space. And I had this story, it was rolling over for a few weeks, and I just didn't want to go to work, and I took time off, and I was at the point where I'm like, I'm done with this. And then I ended up dropping into like, why did I want that job? Why did I start working there? And the truth is, I just want to have a positive impact on people's lives, whether that's with kids, whether it's through my men's groups, whether it's through my coaching, whatever that is. Like, my value is that I want to have an impact on people's lives. And I know that in the past when I've created things, it's been really, really hard work. And often I have lots of ideas, but when I collaborate with people on those ideas, that's when I really start to flow. Like, if someone pulls me into something and it makes my heart sing, I provide enormous value. Like, that's where I operate. And I've been leaning more and more into not doing my own stuff, but looking for where are people struggling that in things that I love doing, rather than like having to have my own business, et cetera, et cetera. That's not necessarily where I need to be successful. You know, like, we've had the conversation a lot around money, but like, it's not my driver, it's not my focus. But with work, I went in, I had one of the girls message me, she's like, oh, can we do group PT tonight? There's 4 people who come to a class, at 7:45. I coach them twice a week, and there's these 4 people just wanted to come and do PT. And it was like, when I said, yeah, I'll see you tonight, she's like, whoop, whoop, you know, like, and it was all high fives and fist bumps and all excitement and energetic, right? And that's what it's all about, you know. It's helping people find their weaknesses and how they can take some action to improve their lives. Like, that is fundamentally the space that I operate in, regardless of what space of work that I'm living in. So I guess I just wanted to, that's what was dropping in for me when you were kind of talking about gratitude and energy and how you feeling. And even though the business owner in that particular business, he is relatively low vibe and his business isn't super successful because of that, but if I was to go to him and say, hey man, like, the way you think about your business is why it's unsuccessful, he would blow a top, right? He'd be like, you're off your head, Corey, you know. But I work there, so he's one of the people that I work with, like coaching and mentoring and helping and putting him out of spaces and wearing bright socks and like bringing a different energy to the gym than what he brings, right? So I don't have to be at his level. I can be at my own level within the space of that facility, and I can attract people that are operating at that energy level.
I was wanting to share. I appreciate Corey, thank you. My journey's been massive, and I am petrified to mention it or share it. I was not well a year and a half ago. The doctor said I probably got 6 months to live, and I said no, basically. And bit by bit, I started to change my ways. And I never realized how humongous this journey would be and how many walls I would have to climb over. But I just kept on keeping on. Through everything that was thrown at me, through every knock, through every hard day, I just kept going. And I was in a unhealthy, toxic marriage with a narcissist, an abusive husband. And I reached out. That was what I started to do. I reached out with psychologists and whatnot. Now, my journey probably began many years before that. 15 to 20 years ago, I was diagnosed with a mental illness. And my family said the best thing for me would be to go into an institution. And I was locked away. And that was hard. And then 5 years after that, I fell pregnant to the husband that I just left. And I don't mean to upset anyone. I hope I'm not triggering anyone. But basically, I kept climbing, and me and my baby went into the hospital, the institution, and they said that they would take the baby away from me. He would be fostered off. And I said no. And luckily, my family said no as well. They had my back there, but they didn't stop the doctors from putting me in hospital because I have a feistiness, and when I get upset, I can yell like a lion. And I yelled at my mum, and my family didn't like it, so I was put in hospital. It's been a huge journey, but when the doctors said I was dying, after raising my boy for 10 years, giving utmost dedication as a mother, proving everyone wrong, that I was not an unhealthy mother, that I was fit. 5 years into that, I had a daughter and stayed with the husband to keep the children safe, like a stability, roof over their heads. When the doctors told me I was dying, I said no, and I wasn't going to leave my kids. They're way too young to not have their mum. In 2017, I was back in the hospital because I tried to leave my husband. He was physically abusive, and I told everyone it was me being clumsy. So I went back into the hospital because everyone thought I was crazy. I didn't say a word, and when I came back out, my baby was 2, And all she said was, I missed you, Mama. I missed you, for months on end. They put me on the wrong medication for years. And there was one medication that actually put me in a wheelchair, and I had to learn to walk again. It's been massive and immense, and I don't mean to bring it all out. It's just that a year ago, I said, I'm not going to die. I have a dream and I will conquer that. And I wanted to take my kids around Australia. We've travelled from Victoria and now we're in Rockhampton near Cairns in Queensland, and I'm doing it. And I've done so many things to change my health, to better my ways. I've been off medication for 2 years. My doctor said, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. I'm kicking goals every day and I'm absolutely exhausted, but it's so worth it. And that's my bit. That's no matter what knocks you, no matter what comes at you, you can get back up, because many have before. Like that scientist, he invented something and he was locked up. He's in Think and Grow Rich. He was locked up and they all said he was insane, but he was actually right. And like the man that said, the world is not flat, it is round. They said he was crazy, and he was locked up as well, I think. No matter what, no matter who knocks you, keep following your dreams, because it's so worth it. And now I just laugh. Spontaneously, I just laugh because I'm seeing things that I never imagined that I'd be able to see in my lifetime. The sunsets and all of it, it's amazing. Hope I haven't upset anyone, and I just wanted to share that. Thank you all.
Thank you, Kate, for speaking so openly there, and really appreciate you. You haven't upset my mum, she had to go, but really appreciate your openness there and feeling comfortable with us all to share that. So yeah, thank you so much. Sasha, I know you wanted to touch a bit on.
Yeah, it now feels almost stupid after this. So thank you, Kate, for sharing, and yeah, very powerful that you keep getting up and moving forward. So with a smile even. So that's very good. Yeah. What I wanted to say actually about what you said with the person who is getting the job for her husband. I can relate to it. I'm taking a job now in 2 weeks, and I really don't like it. That's what I feel, and I'm fighting against it, and think, okay, I said I never would do that again. And yeah, what you said made me think, yeah, I can feel it like being grateful for it too, because it gives me the rest and the time to do the other things at a comfortable pace. Otherwise, I'm rushing into something, and it's so much rushing that it doesn't feel good anymore. So now with having financial security for that, and still having enough time to do other things like NG, what I really like, then I can be grateful for that too. So if I'm grateful, it gives energy, and it's not the worst job I can get. So yeah, if I'm grateful for it and then proceed in what I really like to do, that makes a lot of difference. So thank you for sharing that story. That can help me to shift that too. So that's what I wanted to say.
Thanks, Sasha. Thank you. The thing that was coming up for me then when Sasha was speaking was, if we've got land here and a river running through, what needs to be created for us to get from one side to the other?
Yeah, a road or something, or a bridge.
A bridge. So the way to look at things that are happening in our lives, that in this example, the job is a bridge to help you get to where you need to get to. It's just going to basically support you whilst you get to that point. And it doesn't mean that the bridge has to continue being built. It's just going to carry you for where you need to get to. Because the thing that we can either choose to, you know, people who reach out to me and say, hey, I want a better life. And I go, okay, are you willing to draw a line in the sand and step over that line? Or are you wanting to just stay back? Because as soon as you step over that line, it all starts from this point. And it's not going to be easy because everything you've experienced to that point in the line has not been easy. So don't think drawing a line in the sand and stepping over is going to be any easier. And they're like, yeah, I'm ready to do it. It's amazing to watch how many people actually go backwards because they're not truly clear on where they want to go. They're not determined and they're not willing to persevere. They're not willing to go through the process. And people have asked me, have you ever wanted to quit? And I've said, why would I want to quit? I'm quitting on my life, and then I'll end up doing something that doesn't satisfy me. So the focus is that if we're building that bridge and we're walking on that bridge to help us get there, and every step we lay the next part so we can step again further along that bridge, is what are we doing in the back to help that once that bridge is created to start moving forward on that new patch of land? What are we working on? Corey shared it before around how much it's empowered him far more by collaborating. I know how much of a difference it's made to me. I've been so fortunate to be able to access all of you, to access your minds, to access your contribution, to access even just your energy on this call. I've been so fortunate to do that, but do you know what? It took me to draw a line in the sand and say, I'm not a carpenter. I'm not just a builder. I am actually somebody here who's here to create a massive difference in my own life. And the overflow from that will make a positive difference in other people's. So the whole process came from a decision and a willingness to be open to contribute and connect. The reason why Ryan found us is because he was asking questions. He asked his mentor, I want to connect, and his mentor found us. Ryan, I just see you put your hand up.
I did when I read through the book before I even got involved in this mastermind group. When I was reading the book, I made sure that I was actively taking notes. That way I could jog my memory and refer back to it. And I wanted to bring up something that I read in the book where it says, the only limitation is that which one sets in one's own mind. And that's such a small sentence, but it's so powerful because it's so true. Anything that you want to do in life, anything that you want to accomplish, it starts here. It starts and it ends here. If you can't imagine something, or if you don't believe it here first, but you're saying words, but they don't resonate here, it's not going to happen because, again, you imagine it and the imagination starts here, but then you also have to believe it as well. And for me, going to, what you were saying, Martin, about building that bridge, for me, I know that I'm going to be successful. And I've told you this before. I know I'm going to be successful. I just don't know the how. So for me, it's very critical and it's very important for me to figure out what it is that my final destination is. And it may not be one destination. I may get to that destination, and then when I get there and look and see, oh, there's another destination that I can get to. But for me, especially in this time and in this moment that I'm in right now, it's so important for me to figure out and to point my compass and get oriented in the right direction so that I can build that bridge and so that I can see where it is that I want to get to. Because right now, I don't know that. All I know is I want to be successful, and I know I'm going to be successful. I just don't know in what area that is. And again, for me, it's so important to kind of figure that out and to walk in this journey and to go through that process and to try things and to say, hey, okay, yep, I tried that, didn't work. Okay, let me try something else, and continue to do something after do something after do something, and continue to get up and to try things and to fail, because that's the only way that you're gonna kind of figure that out.
Yeah, beautiful share, mate. Thanks, Ryan. We've got a couple of minutes. Is there anything that anybody who hasn't spoken yet would like to share? Is there anybody who hasn't spoken yet would like to share, out of Federica or Lynette or Trudy? If not, that's fine. Well, just letting you have the floor if you want.
Yeah, I'll have a quick share. In the last few weeks, I've engaged the help of a mindset coach. And yeah, just since working with her, I've really discovered that I get way more inspiration from collaborating with someone. So yeah, as you were saying before, like I seem to be way more creative when I've got someone to bounce ideas off. So that's something I've noticed just lately myself.
Yeah, good. Thanks, Lynette. Well done. Well done on taking action and getting yourself a coach as well to support you on your path. Federica or Trudy, last couple of minutes. If not, that's fine. There's no pressure.
I'm happy to share something, even though I'm not sure how much value will be. But like nearly a year ago, I started, like I just had a life change sort of opportunity to start a side hustle, like an online business, whatever we want to call it. And like I haven't really got anywhere with it yet. I mean, there's been a year, but the journey itself, I just can't even describe it. Like I don't even remember who I was before. It's been hard at times because it's hard to sort of, you understand you're growing, you understand you're changing, and all in a sudden everything that was part of your life is just, it just feels like it doesn't belong to you anymore, or you don't belong to it anymore. You're just transforming into something else, into someone else. And for me, it's been hard to still fit into my reality, because I thought I was manifesting and I was creating all this idea in my mind. And I was trying to be that person so that I could attract that. It still wasn't happening. So I was sort of, my mind was in a new reality. My body was still stuck in my old reality. It's been really hard, but it's been amazing at the same time, because I just don't know how I used to live before all of this, before understanding. I mean, not that I do understand my mind, I don't, but just start trying to understand how it works and how much information there is out there that it's not taught to us at school. You know, like I never heard of any of this growing up. I never heard of mindset. I've never heard of vibrations. I've never heard of manifesting. And all in a sudden, this whole new world opened up to me, and I want to be part of it, and it's sort of stuck in between two worlds at the moment. And I don't know, it's not much value to anyone to say that I'm stuck. But that's why I'm connecting with people. That's why I'm trying to move on, you know. So thank you for having me on this call, and for everyone who shared their stories. I'll get there too eventually, I guess.
Yeah, that Frederica, first of all, thank you for sharing. Secondly, are you open to receiving?
Give me everything you got. I'm happy to take it.
What you shared right there was so beautiful, because how many people do you think in the world are in a place where they're stuck, consciously or unconsciously?
Everyone.
Pretty much, arguably, everyone, if not a high percentage. And the people who are becoming more aware and shifting through and peeling off the layers, you know, if you speak to Corey in particular, only because I've had some seriously good conversations and deep conversations, and I always have great conversations with Corey, but this guy is constantly challenging himself, and it's another layer peeled and another layer peeled, and then he's diving deeper into that. And it tires me out listening to Corey on the amount of layers that he's peeling through and working through. But he empowers me to keep going. And I think what's so beautiful about, and I'm not saying nobody else does on this call, but I'm just using Corey as an example, or leveraging Corey as an example rather. And you're totally right. The problem is we've allowed all this conditioning, and this is where I invite everybody. Don't blame society. Don't blame the schooling system. Don't blame that, because blame is a very low vibration. We take ownership for that. Hey, I was in that environment and that's what I received at that time, and it served me to that point. But right now, it's not going to serve me to get to where I want to get to. So I'm grateful for it and I thank you for it. But now it's time for me to evolve. And it's given me a level of understanding, because right now, especially when we activate the law of polarity, we can't understand how much that is not going to serve us until we step into something that is going to serve us. We can show gratitude for it. And it's like these calls. There's people who come on and they love it, and there's people who don't come on and they go, it's a waste of time, because they're in the total opposite end of the negative and the positive. And we look and go, that's perfectly fine. But I know that when I choose to show up and do things and get on these calls and be open and receive, I grow. And that takes me where I need to get to. So you choosing to show up right now is proof that where you are, you're wanting to move forward. You aren't stuck. You're moving forward every day, and you're growing and you're learning, and you actually are becoming more. So it might consciously feel like you're stuck, but your determination to keep showing up and the communication the brief communication we've had is proof that you are moving forward. It's proof. No doubt about it. Corey. Yeah.
So Mark shared something a few weeks ago on the leaders call, and it was bamboo. And I feel like this really relates to me, and I thought I was through the laying of the root phase, but I'm still in that at the moment. So a bamboo tree will lay roots for 5 years, and then in the 5th year, it will shoot a wall of bamboo up 30 foot into the sky. So that's like really, I guess there's a lot in that for people who are going through a phase of growth, you know, like for me, I just had to let go of the expectations that I could go through a phase of healing and be in a state of growth and giving and et cetera, et cetera. Like this has provided a space for me where lots of people think I'm giving value, where actually I'm just healing myself. It's kind of like a layer of that for me, and I'm very open about that. But I find that I just sit in, I guess Martin sees that I'm sitting in like this healing all the time. But what I'm actually doing is, instead of, I've got a whole story, right? And I'm not going to go into that, but I've got a story of wounding. Let's just leave it open as that. I've got a story of wounding that I was stuck in for 38 years, right? And then at 38 years, something significant happened, which caused me to unwind that and go, okay, I need to unwind. So I've just been unwinding it. So just when you're in this place of shifting, of pivoting, of moving, of healing, just don't judge it. Just go, okay, why is this coming up for me? What is the lesson in this? I don't like the word why, because often, why is this happening to me? Why is this coming up to me? A different terminology. It's the first time I've really used why in that way. When we ask the question, why is this happening, that really takes us into a negative vibration. It drops us into blame and shame and guilt and et cetera, et cetera. And that really doesn't serve us as individuals, and it certainly doesn't serve humanity, because we need to then, for me, I verbally vomit my emotions onto the world when I am going, why is this happening to me? Whereas if I'm like, what is the lesson here? And then I dive into that, and I'm still working out how to be in the world and present and not retract or not be emotionally charged. And, you know, anyone who's been on these calls regularly has seen me cry. You know, it's I carry my emotions very high up in my body, and when I'm speaking about them, they just flow out of me. When I write posts on Facebook, I'm often crying while I'm letting them out. I'm sending someone a voice message. I just let the emotions kind of flow. So I guess I'm just putting it out there to everyone who's on a healing journey. There's no shame or guilt in healing, right? But allow yourself time and space. Because when you are going, I need to be here, I need to be here, I need to be here, there's no time to heal. And I've been in Noble Goldman for 12 months now, and I've done a lot, but I haven't done a lot. Like I've been using Noble Goldman as a healing tool. And I wrote a blog post about faith and healing today, and a little bit about this kind of stuff. So it's interesting that it came up. Now, I'd love to rewrite the whole blog post now, but anyway, it's out into the ether. So I guess my takeaway for myself is, so I'll speak from the I, is to not judge and to not be in shame and guilt when I'm moving through something. You know, like I'm moving through something at the moment. It's a full moon. I'm going to let it go tonight, but I'm, you know, there's stuff there, and instead of like packaging it back in the box, like I have to let it go, right? Because otherwise, it will just come up again. It'll come up with Riley. It'll come up with my wife. It'll come up with Martin. I'll go, yeah, I'm not doing Noble Goldman. Martin said something that upset me. Whatever. That's probably not a true example, but that's kind of where it goes, right? It can come into that space of being triggered. Sorry, my light's just turned off. Being triggered by something else, so it'll keep coming up with it. So I just choose to deal with it, and that seems, I guess, to the outside world looking in, it seems like I'm doing a lot of work all the time, but I feel like I'm getting close to the end of doing the work. Even though the work will always be there, but the depth and the intensity of it will certainly soften. I've kind of gone on for a bit downward over time now, but that's thanks for giving me the space.
You're welcome, Corey, and thank you for sharing. And this goes back to what Federica had said earlier on, and this isn't in any way formed from a place of disempowerment, but please, all of us, never underestimate the true power that we have as a human being. Like the ability to step into a space like this and share. And all of us, when we are open to sharing, we are able then to connect with other people on a deeper level. We're able to give faith to people who may not have it. And for many of us, we underestimate just how valuable we really are. And it only comes down to the contribution, the choice to communicate, the choice to share. I know when I've spoken about the depression I went through and the suicide stuff, the amount of people that have opened up to me and been able to really start to heal wounds. And it's only because of me choosing to share it that it gave them that space. And this is the power of it. It's not from a place of, hey, I want sympathy. Like when Kate shared so beautifully before, she's not after sympathy. We sent her love, we could feel it, and we sent it to her. But she did it because there's other people out there going through similar challenges. And it's good to know that people are working through it, and together, collectively, we can shift, remember, from the me to the we. We can come and support each other. We can help each other work through these challenges. We can become more than we are. And the beautiful thing, and I encourage you to look at this at the end of each day, to take a moment to reflect and show gratitude to yourself. And if you can sit there or lay there and just say to yourself, am I a better person than I was when I woke up this morning? And if the answer to that is no, I definitely encourage you to be accessing the abundance game in NG, because that is going to make sure your action that you're taking each day is aligned with where you want to go and who you want to be. Because you cannot be moving in the direction that you want to go if you're not clear on where you want to go. And that's why I always say this is one of the greatest tools. It's free for everybody. It's one of the greatest tools. I use it every day. It allows me to step into that, and I go to bed knowing that I'm better than I was when I woke up. And that's only my goal each day, to do something that serves me and let that overflow to serve others. So like Corey mentioned, we have gone over time, and I do apologize for that, but I'm very grateful that you all chose to still be with us and share. Now, there's naturally going to be things you're going to take away from this. The topic today was all around imagination. And for those of you who are in NG, once again, access the abundance game. It's going to activate your imagination faculty. The masterminds, the vault, the masterclasses, all of this is going to help you expand and grow your imagination. Some of us are in the vault. Some of us are accessing those other masterclasses and masterminds. They're designed to help us all grow. Okay, these are tools to help us succeed and win at the game of life, to achieve our desired success, whatever that means to us. And we have a choice. We choose to access them or we don't. It does not saying it's the only thing to do that's going to help you get there. But speaking from experience, based on my own experience, it's helped me get to where I want to go. And it's helped me create relationships with people who are going in the direction that empowers me and inspires me every day. Where there is a will, there is a way. Absolutely, Carly. So everybody, thank you so much. I look forward to speaking with you again soon. The chapter for next week is chapter 7, okay? Organized planning. So have a read through that, whether it's this one or the Think and Grow Rich for Women or whatever copy you've got. Chapter 7, organized planning, and we'll dive deeper into that next week. Thank you, everybody, for your time.
Thanks, Martin. Enjoyed it. Thanks, everyone. Good night.
Thank you.